We are back. That's right. We are back to Football 101, the YouTube show. That's right. Featuring your host, The Beetle. That's right. That's me. Formerly of the Miami University Redhawks. Way back in the day. Way back in the 79 and 80 as a defensive back. And of course, play high school football as a defensive back and wide receiver. Way back in the day. So I'm bringing you my analysis of the NFL. That's right, my analysis, my insight. I'm digging deeper into the NFL and showcasing many of the shows on YouTube, the shows that follow the given teams in their local cities. And I'm highlighting WUSA Channel 9 in Washington, D.C. for the Washington Commanders. So I've already checked out WUSA Channel 9 in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, we used to live in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area out in Frederick, Maryland. So I'm kind of, and matter of fact, way back in the day, not way back in the day, but I took my family there to see the Washington during training camp when we lived there from during the, 1999 to 2004. So it was been 20 years ago, but again, I'm very familiar with the Washington, D.C. metro area, and really glad to see WUSA Channel 9 still covering the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders. So I'm going to give you my insight of these new Washington Commanders with their new coach, Dan Quinn. And of course, I'm going to give the follow Lindy Sports and give some additional analysis of what I think and how I think the Washington Commanders will perform this year. And there are a lot of questions, of course, with the Washington Commanders. They still have their superstar, Terry McLaurin. Let me just show my boy Terry McLaurin, wide receiver from the Ohio State University. He's the leader of this team by far. He has gone through major transition of the previous administration and everything, and they really had to move forward with their new change of leadership, and so that's a good thing. Oh my gosh! And they bring in, of course, Dan Quinn was the defense coordinator. Oh, my lights are going out. A little bit going out right here. I'm going to turn things back on. This is live in my studio. Make sure my lights come back on. There you go. It's going to come back on. I've been going at it. Steady, Eddie. There you go. Let's bring in more light. Oh my gosh. There we go. Oh, there's my show. See, things happen in the studio. This is live. I do not cut and paste. This is live in my. By the way, I tape this show at night, so not to be all loud during the day, but I tape it at night. And this is show. I'm finishing out the NFC East tonight, and with the Commanders. And I really like the change of direction from Riviera to Dan Quinn. It's tough to change. They just changed ownership too. Oh my gosh, from the days of Daniel Snyder. Oh gosh, it was horrible then. And now they have new ownership. A managing partner, Josh Harris, managing partner, and general manager is Adam Peters. Let me just say, the Washington football team, Washington Commanders. I got hooked on the Washington football team. So the Washington Commanders are going through all types of changes, and they're pitching another direction, rightly so. But I think they're making the right moves right up front. Dan Quinn hired for the offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, formerly the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. He was let go of Cardinals a couple of years ago, and now he's offense coordinator. He's trying to build up his reputation again. I didn't like him at head coach for the Cardinals, but he should have matured by now. And I think he's going to bring a good, fast attitude, philosophy to their offense. And of course, now with the change of leadership, change of quarterback, they drafted Jayden Daniels. Again, let me just make sure everything. Yeah, I've been impressed of what I've seen from Jayden Daniels, particularly he was highly touted from LSU. He won the Heisman Trophy, and yet he's kind of a thin-built quarterback. But let me just say, when I saw his performance at training camp, Jayden Daniels is balling. He is throwing the ball on the spot like a veteran quarterback. And the folks at WUSA Network, Channel 9 in DC, they were very surprised, very pleased of his performance. And even the wide receivers were impressed of how he's handling himself. Right now, he wasn't the pencil-in starter, but after you see him perform, that's the reason why they picked up Marcus Mariota as a backup, as well as they got Jake Fromm as a backup. But Jayden Daniels, his skill set is off the hook. The biggest issue is hopefully he will not be a running quarterback. He ran a lot at LSU. He doesn't need to do that in the pros. He doesn't need to do that in the NFC East, or otherwise he will be just like Robert Griffin III. And I remember those days of Robert Griffin III running and then getting injured and getting jacked up. So Jayden Daniels does not need to do that. And I'm pretty sure Cliff Kingsbury will tell Jayden Daniels, stay in the pocket. Don't run around and get hurt. Excuse me, y'all. It's a long night. But Jayden Daniels, I have to admit, again, I didn't know how he was going to perform, but what the drills that I saw, the 7-on-7, the scrimmages that I saw already, Jayden Daniels putting the ball on the spot. And so their offense looks, at least from the quarterback position, looks impressive. Again, he hasn't played in any games yet, but he has the skill sets. There's no doubt. Okay, one thing about playing football in the DC area, they are intense. They are on top of each and every issue. So it's going to be interesting how he handles the media. And let me just say, when I was there, I remember Sonny Jurgensen holding the show, as well as Riggins, who was hosting the show. They were intense. So I know the media there will be as well as intense on the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels. So hopefully they will give him a bit time to mature, to get involved, not overhyping up as they love to do in the DC metro area. What I do like what they have brought in, veteran leadership around Jayden Daniels. They acquired Austin Ekeler from the Los Angeles Chargers, and Ekeler, he's a money man. He's just scores touchdown, and he looked good. I saw him in practice. I saw him the first day training camp. He's in training camp. He looks good. He's ready to go. So I really like that they landed Ekeler. They also brought in a proven runner with Brian Robinson, very talented running back that I was very impressed with. Yes, Brian Robinson, very physical running back. And they have Ekeler. They also have Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky. Again, they looked, their running back core looks very solid. I really like what they did. They let go Curtis Samuel, their wide receiver, understandably, because Curtis Samuel from the Ohio State just didn't fit in with the rest of the wide receivers, because you got Terry McLaurin, bona fide NFL star, and then you have Jahan Dotson. They are superstars. and that can go deep. And so they bring a wealth of great upper talent, wide receiving opportunities and scoring, and with veteran leadership of Austin Ekeler and a very proven, strong runner, tandem of Brian Robinson with Ekeler. I see them moving up the ladder and really making impact right up front. Again, with the offensive coordinator, formerly head coach Cliff Kingsbury. So there's not going to be much of he just got to fit into the talent pool there. And he has more talent let me just say, more talent on this Washington Commanders team than he ever had with the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm sure he is giddy over being back in the NFL and with a very talented roster with the Washington Commanders. So again, and let me just say that with superstar leader Terry McLaurin, he brings the attitude, the professionalism, the style. He knows how to run his routes. He's very dependable. He is a natural born leader. He doesn't have an ego, and he is a team player, and that's the reason why you keep McLaurin healthy. You bring other superstars around him, and so he can also get Jaden Daniels acclimated to the NFL. And so that's a great tandem. Really like their offense. And they have a lot of ability, a lot of opportunity to take it up another level. So the Washington Commanders look really good offensively. Now defensively, let me just say the offensive line, a young quarterback. The line is a huge red flag for the Commanders, who tried to move up in the draft to grab a top left tackle prospect, but were unable to do so. That's their weak part. The Washington will have to rebuild their line, which is no easy task in the offseason. They new center Tyler Radis, what is it? Batis is at least a year to start. Their offensive line really needs some help there, and it looks like Cornelius Lucas will be their other tackle on the offensive line. And so they do need, and that's one of the areas of their weaknesses. I'm not familiar with much with the offensive line, but I know that last year, the quarterbacks struggled. So hopefully Jaden Daniels does not get hurt this season because of a poor offensive line. Now, let me just say, defensively, I'm impressed. At the league comes around visiting, Washington is set for the present and future in this position. They have Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne are known as quantities, but Johnny Newton is about to burst into the scene as a rookie. Their defensive line is very solid, but their linebacking core. Now, this is where I saw on film and one of the interviews on WUSA. They interviewed their newly acquired. Let me make sure. They highlighted Bobby Wagner, but the steal in the off season was really. Let me make sure. The steal was Frankie Vulu. Frankie Vulu, who came from the Carolina Panthers, that he is a superstar linebacker. I saw, Frankie Vulu. There he is. He is a superstar linebacker. I saw him during the scrimmage, and that's right, the previous coach, Ron Rivera. Really like Ron Rivera, but he just didn't fit into the new scheme here. But the linebacker with Vulu, he is a superstar. He brings the complete attitude. Bobby Wagner, yes, he's a veteran. He's an all-pro. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He brings the experience. But watch out for Frankie Vulu. He is high-level professionalism. He gets around. He's a high-level professional, and he feeds off of other players. And that's one thing I noticed, that they didn't feature Frankie Vulu in the magazine, but I saw him live during training camp. So impressed with Frankie Vulu, and he is a high-level professional, highly skilled, very fast linebacker, makes reads, and just brings the pain very fast. So that's a great linebacking core, Frankie Vulu and Bobby Wagner. So that's an exceptional. So they building up their linebacking core. Secondary, a disappointing 2023, left behind a number of concerns, questions. Their young core just did not perform. Derek Forrest and safety Derek Forrest and cornerback Benjamin St. Justice ahead of crucial negotiating windows for both. The good news for the rookie Mike Sanristo is this is his perfect team to be drafted for instant opportunity. Again, they have Jeremy Chin. He's been around several teams. I remember Jeremy Twin Chin, 5 years in the league, defensive back. They also have, let me make sure, Benjamin St. Justice, as I said, from Minnesota, and then rookie from Michigan, Mike. The rookie from Michigan. He's solidified the back end. Yeah, that's one of their weak parts, their secondary. Trying to get them together. My nose is starting to run as well. I'm going to have to finish. I'm struggling, y'all. But that's the back end of the secondary for the Washington Commanders. Special teams, a new coach overhauls special teams in his first month. So they're cleaning a house on their special teams. They also say some of the intangibles after finishing 32nd in the league in attendance in Snyder's final season. The owner, the crowd finally returned. The stadium is still a dump. But they're talking about the stadium. Well, that's understandable. Again, that's politics that happen in Washington. It's getting rid of that old guard and bringing in a new guard, a new philosophy, new set of agenda, and bringing in the enthusiasm. Matter of fact, I think one of the minority partners, owners, is Magic Johnson for the Washington Commanders. So they're going to do a lot of blitz, a lot of marketing. But overall, I really like where this team is headed now with new head coach and everything, that they're going to build a good movement. Dan Quinn is a good fit. He really is. He was with Dallas, but he was also with Atlanta, and then he was also with Seattle before. But I think this time Dan Quinn will get it right as a head coach. He'll be given enough time to get it right. He has good veteran leadership and a superstar, a Heisman Trophy winner, and Jaden Daniels. So I'm very excited for the Washington Commanders. I think they're headed in the right direction, and I have them at 9. Their season, 9 wins, 8 losses, 9-8. I think they will go just above 500. Here's their schedule. Check out. Here's their schedule. Hold on. Here's their schedule. Excuse me. They start off on the road at Tampa Bay. Then they host New York Giants. Then they go on the road Cincy. Then they go on the road Arizona. Then they host Cleveland Browns. Then they go to Baltimore. Then they host Carolina. Then they host Chicago. I said Chicago. Then they go to New York Giants. And then they host Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they go to Philly. Then they go... Then they host Dallas. Then they host Tennessee. Then they have a bye. Then they go to New Orleans. Then they host Philly. Then they host Atlanta. And they finish out going on the road to Dallas. And that may be a one barn burner of a game. And I think it will be totally the end of the Dallas Cowboys when the Washington Commanders go in and beat Dallas on the last game of the year. So I'm predicting Dan Quinn's Washington Commanders to end up in a positive note and put a fork in it for the Dallas Cowboys. You heard it first. First, the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders will put a fork into Jerry Jones's Mike McCarthy Dallas Cowboys at the end of the season, and that will be the end of Mike McCarthy in Dallas, with the Washington Commanders making a statement at the very end of this. That will be their season. Believe me, Dan Quinn has this marked. Why? Because he just left Dallas Cowboys. This will be vendetta for Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders, so this will be their Super Bowl at the end, and mark it down. The Washington Commanders will take it to the Cowboys on the final game of the season. You heard it first from the Beetle. That's how I bring it. I bring the attitude. I tell it like it is. On Football 101, the YouTube show. We are bringing the YouTube show to each and every one of you. And I hope, thank you for your patience. I hope you like and subscribe. And I'm just going to break it down the best way I can throughout the entire season. But first, I have to go through each and every team. And that was the final team in the NFC East. Next up is the NFC North. Stay with us. This is Football 101. We just getting started. Let's do this.